Hello, and welcome to SeniorWise Journey. If you're like me, you've probably noticed that life's third act isn't a final curtain call, but rather the opening of a brand new, spectacular play. This is our time, a time for wisdom, for peace, and for a depth of joy we might not have had time for in our bustling younger years. But this beautiful chapter doesn't write itself. It requires a thoughtful author. Too often, we see friends and peers fall into subtle traps, small habits that over time can quietly steal the vibrancy from these golden years. They aren't dramatic failures, but slow leaks in the foundations of happiness and health. Today, we're not going to talk about mistakes. Instead, we will reframe them. We will explore the 5 great freedoms that, when embraced, allow us to build a future filled with purpose, connection, and radiant well-being. This isn't about avoiding pitfalls, it's about actively, joyfully paving the road ahead. Let's embark on this journey together and unlock the secrets to a truly magnificent life after 60.
Part 1. The freedom of movement and vitality. The first, and perhaps most fundamental of our great freedoms, is the freedom of movement and vitality. It's the liberty to say yes to life, yes to a walk in the park with a grandchild, yes to planting a new garden, yes to carrying your own groceries, yes to dancing in the kitchen to a favorite old song. Yet this freedom is often the first one we unknowingly surrender. It begins with small negotiations. The elevator seems more appealing than the stairs. The comfy recliner calls our name more insistently than the walking shoes by the door. We tell ourselves, "I've earned this rest." And while rest is crucial, there's a fine line between restorative rest and the slow erosion of inactivity. Many of us were raised to believe that getting older naturally means getting weaker, stiffer, and slower. But modern science and the stories of vibrant seniors all around us tell a different, more empowering tale. Much of what we call aging is actually disuse. Our bodies are magnificent machines designed for motion. When we stop moving, the machine begins to rust. Muscles, if not regularly challenged, undergo a process called sarcopenia, a loss of mass and strength. This isn't just about not being able to lift heavy things anymore. It weakens our core, compromises our balance, and dramatically increases the risk of a fall. For us, a fall isn't a minor mishap. It can be a life-altering event, a thief that steals independence in an instant. Let me tell you about my friend Arthur. A retired history professor, Arthur spent his life on his feet, commanding lecture halls. In his early 70s, he settled into a quiet retirement of reading and writing. He reasoned that his mind was his primary tool now. He slowly gave up his daily walks, then his gardening. Within 2 years, he was shocked to find himself out of breath simply walking to the mailbox. The day he tried to lift a bag of potting soil and felt a sharp twinge in his back was his wake-up call. He realized he had traded the freedom of a capable body for the comfort of his chair. It took him nearly a year of gentle, consistent effort, starting with chair yoga and short, deliberate walks, to reclaim a fraction of what he had lost. His story is a powerful reminder. We don't lose strength because we grow old. We grow old because we lose strength. But vitality isn't just about muscle. It's about fuel. As our metabolism changes, our nutritional needs shift. We may need fewer calories, but we require a higher density of nutrients. Our bodies crave more protein to maintain that precious muscle, more calcium and vitamin D to keep our bones strong, and more fiber to keep our digestive system running smoothly. The convenience of processed packaged foods is a siren's call, but it often leads to a body that is overfed yet undernourished. Think of your plate not as a source of restriction, but as a palette of vibrant colors that paint a picture of health. The deep green of spinach, the rich red of a tomato, the bright orange of a sweet potato. These are the hues of energy. It's never too late to learn a new recipe or to find joy in preparing a simple, wholesome meal that honors the body that has carried you so far. Finally, this freedom is protected by vigilance. Regular checkups with your doctor aren't an admission of fragility. They are acts of stewardship. Blood pressure, cholesterol, bone density. These are the quiet metrics of our well-being. Catching a problem early is the difference between a minor course correction and a major, life-disrupting storm. Embracing the freedom of movement and vitality is a daily choice. It's a promise we make to our future selves that we will remain active participants in our own lives, capable and ready for whatever beautiful moments lie ahead.
Part 2. The freedom of deep and abiding connection. The second great freedom, the freedom of deep and abiding connection, is the very heartbeat of a happy life. It is the warmth of a shared laugh, the comfort of a knowing glance, the profound sense that we are seen, heard, and valued. Humans are woven from the threads of community. We are not designed for solitude. Yet, as the landscape of our lives changes, children move away, careers end, friends are lost, it becomes dangerously easy to let these threads fray. The effort to pick up the phone can feel heavier. The thought of attending a social gathering can seem exhausting. We might tell ourselves, "I don't want to be a bother." This single, self-deprecating thought is one of the most potent poisons to our well-being. Loneliness isn't just a sad feeling, it's a physical ailment. Groundbreaking research has shown that chronic loneliness can be as damaging to our physical health as smoking half a pack of cigarettes a day. It can increase inflammation, raise blood pressure, and weaken our immune response. Mentally, it's a fog that dulls the mind. When we lack regular, stimulating conversation and shared experiences, our cognitive gears begin to grind. The brain, like our muscles, thrives on engagement. Social interaction is its gym, keeping it flexible, resilient, and sharp. Consider the story of Eleanor, a widow in her late 70s. Her husband had been her social director, the one who organized dinners and kept in touch with friends. After he passed, her world shrank to the four walls of her home. She convinced herself that her friends were busy with their own families and that her presence would be an imposition. Her days fell into a silent, gray routine. She felt her memory slipping and her natural optimism fading into a persistent melancholy. One day, her granddaughter, seeing the dimming light in her eyes, gently pushed her to join a local gardening club. Eleanor resisted, full of excuses, but she went. The first meeting was awkward, but then someone asked her about her prize-winning roses from years ago. A spark ignited. She had knowledge to share. The next week, she brought cuttings from her garden. Soon she was laughing, trading tips, and planning outings. The change was miraculous. Color returned to her cheeks, and more importantly, to her world. She didn't just find a hobby, she found a tribe. She reclaimed her freedom of connection. In this quest for connection, it's also wise to diversify our social portfolio. While family is a cornerstone of our lives, relying on them as our sole source of companionship can lead to unintentional disappointment. Our children and grandchildren are navigating their own busy lives. A rich, fulfilling social life is a tapestry woven from many different threads: old friends, new acquaintances from a club, neighbors, fellow volunteers. This variety ensures that our well is never dry and provides different kinds of stimulation and joy. And let us not forget our most powerful tool for connection in the modern age: technology.
For many of us, a smartphone or a tablet can seem intimidating, but learning a few simple skills, how to video chat, how to share photos on social media, is not about becoming a tech guru. It's about demolishing distance. It's about seeing a grandchild's face light up as they show you their new drawing from 1,000 miles away. It's about staying in the loop. Embracing this freedom means actively choosing to reach out, to build bridges, and to remember that our presence is not a burden. It is a gift.
Part 3. The freedom to evolve and adapt. Our third great liberty is the freedom to evolve and adapt. Think of a mighty oak tree. It stands strong not because it is rigid, but because its branches are flexible enough to bend in the wind. A tree that cannot bend breaks. So it is with us. Life is a current, constantly flowing and changing. Resisting this current doesn't stop it. It only exhausts us and leaves us stranded on the shore while the world moves on. This resistance often comes from a place of comfort, from the belief that the old ways are the best ways. And while there is immense wisdom in tradition, there is danger in rigidity. The most common arena for this struggle is technology. It's easy to dismiss smartphones, online banking, or ride-sharing apps as newfangled nonsense. But these tools are no longer just for the young. They are the new infrastructure of daily life. Refusing to learn basic digital literacy is like choosing to live in a town after the main bridge has been closed. You can still get by, but everything becomes harder. You miss out on important family updates shared in a group chat. You struggle to manage finances as banks move more services online. You might even become more vulnerable to scams because the landscape is unfamiliar. Let's talk about my neighbor, George, a proud man of 82 who for years insisted his flip phone was all he needed. "I want to talk to people, not poke at a screen," he'd say. But then his health took a turn, and he needed to schedule frequent appointments at a large medical center. The center's primary communication method was a patient portal app. He was missing appointment reminders and vital test results. His daughter spent hours on the phone acting as his intermediary. Frustration mounted until finally, George surrendered. His granddaughter sat with him for a few patient afternoons. They started with the basics, how to open the app, how to read his messages. Slowly, he got the hang of it. Then he discovered he could use the same device to get a car to his appointments instead of relying on family. Then he learned how to video call his son who lived out of state. That screen he once scorned became his window to independence, connection, and better health. He didn't give up who he was, he simply gave himself a new set of tools. This freedom to adapt extends beyond technology. It applies to our health habits and our relationships. Medical advice changes as science advances. The dietary advice we received in our 40s may be outdated. Being open to new information from our doctors is an act of self-preservation. Similarly, our relationships with our children and grandchildren require flexibility. Their world, their values, and their communication styles are different from ours. Criticizing their choices or insisting they live by our old rulebook creates distance. But if we approach them with curiosity, with a genuine desire to understand their world, we build bridges instead of walls. We might discover that their way isn't wrong, just different. When we stop saying, "When I was your age," and start asking, "Tell me more about that," relationships flourish. Embracing the freedom to evolve is not about betraying your past or your principles. It's about having the wisdom to know what to hold on to and what to let go of. It's about staying curious, staying relevant, and staying engaged with the beautiful, ever-changing world around us. It is the ultimate expression of a mind that is not just old, but wise.
Part 4. The freedom of financial serenity. The fourth great liberty, the freedom of financial serenity, is about something far more profound than being rich. It's about peace of mind. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are secure,
that you are a provider for yourself, and that you will not become a burden to those you love. After a lifetime of hard work and saving, it's tempting to think the financial planning part of our lives is over. We've reached the summit, and now we can simply enjoy the view. But the truth is, retirement isn't a destination. It's a new, long journey, and it requires its own financial map. Mismanaging that map is one of the quickest ways to turn golden years into years of anxiety. One of the most common missteps is a simple one: a gradual, almost invisible mismatch between spending and income. In our working years, if we had a big expense, we knew another paycheck was coming. In retirement, our resources are finite. That nest egg, which seemed so large at first, can be frighteningly fragile when faced with the triple threat of inflation, unexpected home repairs, and, most significantly, healthcare costs. A 75-year-old friend of mine, David, lived a wonderful, generous life in his first decade of retirement. He helped his grandkids with college, took his wife on the cruises they'd always dreamed of, and never thought twice about dining out. He was living the dream, but he wasn't tracking his withdrawals against a long-term plan. When his wife needed specialized long-term care, the dream collided with reality. Their savings were depleted with shocking speed. The stress was immense, and he was faced with painful choices he never anticipated. His story is a stark lesson. Financial stewardship doesn't end when your career does. Creating and living on a realistic budget in retirement isn't about deprivation, it's about empowerment. It's the tool that allows you to say yes to the things that truly matter by consciously saying no to the things that don't. It's about knowing exactly where your money is going so you can direct it with purpose. It transforms money from a source of worry into a reliable tool for living a good life. Furthermore, we must be vigilant protectors of our assets. We grew up in a more trusting time, and that inherent decency can make us prime targets for the vultures of the modern world. Sophisticated scams, over the phone, through email, even from convincing people who knock on our door, are designed to exploit that trust. They create a sense of urgency. Your bank account has been compromised, or appeal to our hearts, help a grandchild in trouble, to bypass our rational judgment. The cardinal rule for financial safety is simple. Never make a major financial decision under pressure. A legitimate organization will always allow you time to think and verify. It is not rude to say, "Let me call you back," or "I'll need to discuss this with my financial advisor or my son or daughter." Having a trusted second set of eyes on any unusual financial request is your strongest shield. The freedom of financial serenity is earned through wisdom, discipline, and vigilance. It's about being a realist about future expenses, a mindful steward of your resources, and a fierce guardian against those who would do you harm. It's the freedom to sleep soundly at night, knowing that you have planned well, ensuring your independence and dignity for all the years to come.
Part 5. The Freedom of Purpose and Growth. We arrive now at our fifth and final great liberty, which may be the most vital of all, the freedom of purpose and growth. This is the freedom that answers the question, why do I get out of bed this morning? For decades, our purpose was often defined for us by our careers, by the needs of our growing families, by the rhythm of responsibilities. Then retirement comes and the music stops. The silence that follows can be deafening, leading to a sense of aimlessness, boredom, and the mistaken belief that our best, most useful years are behind us. This is a tragic falsehood. The human spirit, like the mind and body, does not have an expiration date.
It is designed to grow, to contribute, and to learn until our very last day. Giving up on growth is a choice, not an inevitability. The brain is a marvel of neuroplasticity, meaning it can form new connections and learn new things throughout our entire lives. When we stop challenging it, when we slide into passive routines, like watching television for hours on end, we are actively allowing it to atrophy. Cognitive decline isn't just a matter of age, it's a matter of disuse. Staying mentally vibrant is an active pursuit. It could be learning a new language online. Imagine the joy of ordering a coffee in Italian on a trip you thought you'd never take. It could be joining a book club and debating new ideas. It could be taking up a complex new skill like woodworking, painting, or playing the guitar. Think of my acquaintance Margaret. At 70, after a life as an accountant, she felt she had become dull. Her days lacked color. On a whim, she signed up for a creative writing class at the local community college. She was terrified, convinced she had no stories to tell. But the instructor gave a prompt. Write about the first time you felt truly independent. Suddenly, a flood of memories from her childhood on a farm came pouring out. She wrote about learning to drive a tractor, about selling vegetables at a roadside stand. She rediscovered a part of herself she had forgotten. Today, at 78, she is writing her memoirs, not for fame, but for her grandchildren. She has a reason to wake up. Her mind is alive with words and stories. She found her purpose not in a new career, but in honoring her own life's journey. Purpose doesn't have to be a grand, world-changing endeavor. More often, it is found in quiet acts of contribution. It can be volunteering at the local library, sharing your lifetime of reading with a new generation. It can be mentoring a young person in your former profession, ensuring your hard-won wisdom is not lost. It can be tending a garden that brings beauty to your neighborhood, or caring for a pet that gives you unconditional love. Purpose is simply the feeling that you matter, that your presence makes a positive difference, however small, in the world around you. This freedom requires us to shed the notion that it's too late. Too late to learn? Too late to contribute? Too late to change? Nonsense. Colonel Sanders started KFC in his 60s. Grandma Moses began her painting career in her late 70s. The only thing it's too late for is believing it's too late. Embrace the freedom of purpose and growth. Stay curious. Ask questions. Share your wisdom. Try something that scares you a little. Your life is a remarkable story, and the final chapters are not an epilogue. They are the climax. Make them count.
As we reflect on these 5 great freedoms of vitality, connection, adaptation, serenity, and purpose, we see they are not separate goals, but interlocking pillars that support the magnificent structure of a well-lived later life. They remind us that aging is not a passive decline, but an active, creative process. The choices we make every single day, to take a walk, to call a friend, to learn a new skill, to review our budget, to find a reason to smile, are the brushstrokes that will paint the masterpiece of our future. It is never, ever too late to pick up the brush. The power to shape your remaining years into your best years lies squarely in your hands. This is the ultimate elderly wisdom. Your journey is yours to command. Thank you for joining us on the Senior Wise journey today. If these ideas resonated with you, please help our community grow. Like this video, share it with a friend who might benefit, and be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell. Your support allows us to continue creating this content. More importantly, share your own wisdom in the comments below. We look forward to seeing you on the next part of our journey.